Wait, this was posted an hour ago? Oh boy. Oh boy.
Definition of insanity is insanity is doing the exact same fucking thing over and over again, expecting shit to change. That is crazy.
Cool? Wait, don't fucking demonetize me. Stop!
I talk a lot about performative allyship on this show, and I also talk about internalized bigotry a lot on this show.
Oh wait, I forgot. I already hate Lily Orchard. Oh god. Oh god, Lily Orchard is one of those people who will look at everything progressive in media and immediately say it's not good enough. Like, She-Ra is one of the gayest shows I have ever seen in my life. As many problems as I have with it. Okay.
I've covered people and works that are made with a certain degree of self-hatred at their core, and I've tried to deconstruct why this attitude is such portrayals, and I rail against constructive one. I rail against LGBT people who other themselves through monstrous or non-human portrayals, and I rail against those who try and make self-deprecation and self-flagellation a core part of the LGBT experience. Today, we're going to do more of that, because Contrapoints has spent the last month and a half shooting yourself in the foot. So, brief rundown for those of you who analysis of starting politics topics. Nothing, just a lot of waddle and talk about something shit like TERFs, transmedicalists, and incels. Incels is probably the most telling, as she claimed to sympathize with men who seem to struggle finding a date. Of course, the reason they struggle so hard is because they adamantly refuse to drop destructive and abusive habits that are putting everyone else off.
Nah, fuck you, you stupid cunt. That's not even remotely true. It is a fact of the world that people are getting lonelier and lonelier and having a harder and harder time finding people to be friends with or to be in relationships with. To dismiss that as, well, all of them just can't drop their abusive, misogynistic tendencies. Yeah, a lot of them can't. But I'm pretty sure that Contra made clear in her video that she was referring largely to people who felt out of step with society or misaligned or didn't really know how to engage with other people, which is something that many people have said she ended up helping them with.
Problem that Natalie herself would then demonstrate for the next year. Now I need to prefix this by talking about something
nice meme
I'm going to call the diamond dilemma.
Let's hear it again.
They adamantly refuse to drop destructive and abusive habits that are putting everyone else off. A problem that Natalie herself would then demonstrate for the next year. Now I need to prefix this by talking about something I'm going to call the diamond dilemma. See, Natalie hates being called a true scum. She hates that and thinks that it's unfair and needlessly mean. But as we're going to discover,
she doesn't think it's unfair and needlessly mean. It's just factually inaccurate. What the fuck are you talking about? Anyone who has watched any of listen, by the way, guys, Lily Orchard is one of the few people I would actually call an SJW. It's funny because Lily Orchard herself is actually engaged in abusive behavior with other people, and there's a huge amount of drama surrounding how abusive and habitually gaslighty she is towards other people, which is funny because the people who project like this are usually the ones who are the worst themselves. But all of the content she produces is not only toxic, not only full of incredibly uncharitable interpretations of media, but they're also packed to the literal fucking brim with outward lies that are meant to convince the audience that whatever progressive thing they previously thought was good or cared about is actually insufficient. Lily Orchard would be one of the people calling me like a rapist. Like 100%. I don't know if Lily Orchard knows who the fuck I am, but if Lily Orchard did know who the fuck I was, she would be one of the people who's calling me like a transphobic rapist or something. Anyone who actually thinks that Natalie is a true scum is delusional. There's no other way around it.
In this video, pushing transmedicalist propaganda is something she does. There's
When? I'm waiting for an example. I want to hear it.
No question about it. For all intents and purposes, she is a true scum. Whether that is intentional or accidental is entirely up to her.
Source?
Natalie was constantly coming under fire for rhetoric that sounded extremely like transmedicalist rhetoric. Transmedicalism is the rhetoric of a true scum that insists that gender dysphoria is a medical issue entirely, and that you absolutely need dysphoria to be trans, and that being trans is inherently linked to binary gender roles.
Yeah, okay, so source?
Then you are fully trans, your identity is fully valid, but until you begin living as a woman, your womanhood remains kind of hypothetical.
Yeah, she was talking about societal expectation here. Look at this. This is exactly what I mean. This is the most out of context 40-minute video, 2-second audio clip. She's talking about in the context of societal performance, which is, by the way, completely fucking true. This is some clipped and shipped, boys. Fucking clip chimp Lily Orchard over here, desperate to make her point, clipping words out of context to make her point. We've all seen that video, haven't we? We've all seen Contra's videos. We know that was not the point she was making. She was making the point that in the context of societal acceptance, simply identifying as a woman solely in your head doesn't really change your perception in regards to other people's interpretation of your womanhood. It remains hypothetical. It is through the performative elements of your femininity that you are socially recognized. Of course that's the case. Nobody else can react to just what's in your head. So that makes perfect sense in context, but let's hear, is this like a funny little sitcom clip where somebody says, yikes? I'm ready.
Yikes.
How does he do? How does he fucking do? I can't, it's too much. How does he know? How does he know? How does he know? 800 IQ! I see through the veil.
True Scum have a great deal of contempt for non-dysphoric and non-binary trans people and
Which Contra has made videos defending before, but
believe them to be faking their transness to be trendy. In practice, True Scum rhetoric is little more than trans people projecting their internalized transphobia onto other trans people who have the gall to not be miserable all the time. Natalie was constantly pissing off trans viewers with their careless and destructive comments about them.
So keep in mind, Lily Orchard said that Contra constantly engages in trans-medicalist rhetoric, and the only thing they had to cite is a bad faith, clipped and shipped, clip chimp, fucking out of context clip of Contrapoints saying something that does not in any way, shape, or form meaningfully reinforce that point.
And at one point even started selling anti-Semitic conspiracy theories on her.
Oh my fucking god, dude! Lily Orchard, trans woman? I know. I've seen Jews be like, can we stop with the reptile thing being a fucking anti-Semitic? Lily Orchard is literally like every bad faith Twitter SJW you've ever heard in your fucking life. Lily Orchard is actually a joke. Are we really doing this video? Are we really actually doing this video? Seriously? I've actually seen like Jewish people be like, can we please stop pretending that the reptilian conspiracy theory, when made fun of, is an anti-Semitic, like, holy shit. So to clarify, many of the people who believed in the reptilian conspiracy theory thing were also anti-Semitic because conspiracies tend to overlap. But I think it's reasonable to assume after a bunch of cultural delusion that usually now when people refer vaguely to the lizard people, they're usually making some satirical comment about the possibility of a conspiracy. It's like calling people like the Greys, like gray aliens, you know? Lizard people. What's the name of that BuzzFeed artist? Is this it? It's Adam Ellis. It's Adam Ellis. Give me the link. Give me the link. Yeah, here we go. Is this an anti-Semitic comic right here? Is that it? They're all Jews? This is anti-Semitic? That's what we're looking at right now? Because like Lily Orchard, if Lily Orchard is being consistent with her terms and definitions here, would have to look at this comic and conclude that this is an anti-Semitic comment that is reinforcing anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. Also, I like this comic. It's cute. I like the little lizard. Look, hiss, you know? All right, we're fucking doing it. I've hated Lily Orchard for a long goddamn time. Let's do it. I felt so betrayed. I felt so betrayed when I watched the Legend of Korra Sucks video or whatever, and for a little bit I thought it was just going to be like an honest and fair critique, and it ended up being an absolute shit show of bad faith interpretations of the show's content, meaningless whining about things that could have been more progressive but weren't, and overall just like horrible, horrible presentation.
Her merchandise. Her first instance of this was a video called The Aesthetic, where Natalie staged a debate between a True Scum character and a character that took the correct view that gender is eternal and you are what you say you are. Needless to say, the character who was actually right was presented as weak, ineffectual, and on the losing side of the argument, and Natalie did very little to refute the claims.
That was not what the aesthetic came off as at all. It came off, the reason why the character, the cat girl, the reason why the cat girl came off weird wasn't because she was not a true scum. It was because she was performatively overemphasizing a raw discourse with no aesthetics or no optics whatsoever. So she made her positions look bad. And this character, what's her name? Fucking Justin? What's the name of the character that she played here? Wasn't a true scum. She was Justine, sorry. Just felt a little bit ostracized and alienated by the hyper-radical, completely impractical rhetoric coming out of Tabby. This is such a bad faith interpretation of the contents of the video. Am I lying? Like, guys, in the chat right now, am I being wrong? Am I being overly charitable to Contra? Because I'm pretty sure that interpreting this as a video Contrapoints made in which a true scum BTFOs, a gender theory woke leftist, is completely dishonest.
Made by the true scum character. Natalie ignored and disregarded all the criticisms from trans people who found this video hurtful. And a couple of days after the video, she tweeted out a long diatribe that ended with, "I'm sure this is not the experience of many
I remember.
NBs. I leave it to them to articulate what non-binary existence looks like in a binary world. I do not and cannot speak for them, but surely an account that begins and ends with, 'I'm not a man because I don't identify as one,' is pretty weak."
Yeah. Oh wait, do the clip again.
Yikes.
Yeah, it is. You fucking moron. In terms of rhetoric, yes, that is an incredibly weak argument. Lily Orchard doesn't care because Lily Orchard is Tabby in every bad way. Lily Orchard is overperformative, has horrible optics, is a bad person herself. Lily Orchard was abusive to people in her personal life, horrendously toxic in online discourse, engages in bad faith argumentation. Listen to what Contrapoints is actually saying, okay? Listen to what Contra is actually saying. Contra is saying that it's not a good argument. After a video on aesthetics, it's not a good argument. Do you recognize the difference here between saying that's an incorrect position and saying that it doesn't make for a good argument? Because that is true to the majority of people. If you came up to them and said, "I am not a man because I do not identify as one," that is a pretty weak argument. We do have to look for better ways of bolstering our points. I talk quite a bit on my channel about the reasons why I believe that identification is the qualification for what gender identity you subscribe to. Like, it's an identity thing. It's not like a biological prescriptivist stuff. But my argument isn't, well, they're a woman because they identify as one. My argument tends to be a pretty nuanced semiotic breakdown of the conditions by which we assign gendered characteristics to others, the inherent abstractness of gender as a concept, and the inconsistency of other means by which we ascribe gender to mean something. So those are good arguments. That's it. I like, by the way, that Lily Orchard, who's doing a hit piece here on Contrapoints, opened up saying there were a ton of arguments in favor of Natalie being a true scum, provided none, except for an out-of-faith clip, or out-of-context clip, and now said that Contrapoints went on a tirade on Twitter, and in a video that is supposed to be highlighting her failings in this regard, Lily Orchard didn't feel it necessary to go over what exactly Contra had said on Twitter. I guess maybe it didn't look that bad when actually read aloud, and just saying it was a tirade fits better into her arguments. Why do people have to prove their gender at all? Why can't you just be who you say you are? Because then no one will listen to you and you will all die. You have to make good arguments. I'm not saying you should have to prove your gender. I'm saying that in the world in which we currently live, you need to make arguments for this because most people don't believe in this transgender shit, and you will have to change their minds or you will continue to live a miserable life of systematized discrimination and bigotry. It is only through rhetoric, only through performance, only through advocacy that we can change people's minds. And those minds are not going to be changed with convincing arguments like, well, I'm a woman because I believe I'm a woman. It's not going to do it.
This thread was quickly deleted and Natalie went completely silent until she released a video titled Pronouns. In that video, she did not make a direct apology to the people who felt hurt and disgusted by the aesthetic, and
Nothing wrong with that.
in many ways she doubled down on the True Scum themes by saying she wanted to believe NBs and such.
So the polite thing to do here is easy. If someone asks you to call them they, you call them they. But if you're like me, you don't want to just do a thing because you dogmatically believe it's the woke thing to do. You want to understand why you're doing it. I don't just want to tolerate non-binary people. I want to be a convert. I want to believe about them what they believe about themselves, so long as those beliefs are reasonable.
So
Yeah, that's the good thing. Yeah, you don't just want to dogmatically accept it, you want to understand the positions. Natalie was in that video describing how she wants to come to understand the non-binary experience.
long as those beliefs are reasonable.
Yeah, no shit. What? Hey, non-binary people are real because the moon is waxing and the dowsing rod, when pointed to the left, reveals, oh, okay, well, any argument, no, it doesn't need to be reasonable. What the fuck are you talking about? Contra's take was perfect. That was probably taken out of context and it's still flawless in its own form.
That's not a real position to take. Here's the facts, plain and
What?
simple. There is no logic or reason attached to someone's identity, especially someone's gender. They owe you no explanation for how they got to that point. You are not an authority, you are not a judge, you are not the elected leader of trans people, despite what cis people might say about you.
Super crazy bad faith. Tons of trans people love Contrapoints, and she never said she's the queen of trans people.
There is no dogma attached to it. You don't use someone's pronouns because
You're literally advocating for dogma. You just said, I don't have to explain it to you, you just need to believe it. And now you're saying there's no dogma attached to it?
dogmatically believe it's the woke thing to do, or because you understand all the logical nuances.
Logic is irrelevant.
You do it because you were told to, because it's polite, and because I'm assuming your mother did not raise you in a fucking barn. And
That's dogma! You just described dogma! There's no dogma here. You just need to believe this without questioning it because I say so. You're literally describing dogma right now, Lily Orchard. Lily Orchard is actually like the caricature of every toxic, brain-dead fucking Twitter warrior in existence. It's incredible to me how much damage this person must be doing to the discourse. Can you imagine being right-leaning or center-leaning or anything other than as far left as me and my community are, listening to this and thinking these are arguments? It's extraordinary to me. The unironic SJW, the CIA PSYOP. Amazing. Amazing.
it's about as simple as that. It stretches back to that tweet we showed a moment ago where Natalie says that someone saying, "I'm not a man because I don't identify as one" is pretty weak. But the problem
Yes, it's a weak argument.
with that sentiment is that you aren't owed anything else. You're not entitled to an explanation.
This is what right-leaning people make fun of. This is what I literally spend my career trying to disprove. Hey guys, not all left-leaning people are fucking brain-dead idiots who demand everyone else just go along with what they have to say without questioning them because you're not entitled to an answer. But she's doing all of those things. She's my arch nemesis. She's the shadow that stalks YouTube, convincing right-leaning people that this is what lefties are like. How much is the CIA paying her? This is insane.
Just do what you're fucking told. Were you raised in a barn? No. So stop acting like one. It's extremely creepy when people—
This is dogma. Were you raised in a barn? Good argument, my fucking Deuterino. This is literal gaslighting. Yeah, these are guys, if you ever want to tell, by the way, if a person is abusive by their YouTube videos, this is a really good example. By the way, Lily Orchard, again, here, hold on. Lily Orchard abuse. We can, Wow, what's that? The Lily Orchard fan pack. Oh man, there are literal layered folders of drama on Lily Orchard. Is it wrong of me to go over all of this stuff? Am I dragging like beneath the dirt here to bring all of this up? Is this a drama stream? This isn't a drama stream, is it? No, I feel like this is actually genuinely beneath me. If you guys want to Google fucking Lily Orchard drama or Lily Orchard abuse, please, I encourage you to feel free to do so, okay? But you don't need that drama. My friends, you don't need, I'm not going to link a Google search. Guys, you don't need that drama to know she's abusive. Because this video is gaslighty as fuck. Look at the video. Guys, how about we just extrapolate the abuse from the video? How does that sound to you?
People, cis and trans alike, believe they are entitled to have their say on someone else's identity.
So the polite thing to do here is easy. If someone asks you to call them they, you call them they.
Again, like these literally aren't arguments. Contrapoints, Natalie said that she wants to understand. She said that she wants to recognize, she wants to be a convert. This is a good position. You don't want people just blindly, dogmatically agreeing with whatever they feel is socially acceptable to agree with. Hey, you know why? Because for the vast majority of people in this country, if your modus operandi is to just blindly go along with what the people around you are telling you are moral, let me tell you, my friend, that ain't gonna come out in favor of trans people. Nope, it's not. Most people would rather listen to their parents or their friends or their pastor. It is through argument, through convincing, through rhetoric that we change people's minds. You, Lily Orchard, have a YouTube channel with a lot of exposure attached to it. It is extraordinary to me that somebody whose career is built on rhetoric is opposed to the concept of changing people's minds.
Look, cards on the table, I know very little about non-binary people, and it took me a year to get
What?! How do you... There's not much to know. There's just what? So this is for nothing? This is literally all just virtue signaling? Contrapoints makes a video defending non-binary people and saying that she wants to be a convert. She wants to understand and explore the non-binary identity to become a better advocate for non-binary people. And you fucking woke skulled the shit out of her. And now you're like, well, actually, I don't know much about non-binary people, of course. It doesn't take much. They're just fucking people, and you just call them they, and sometimes they have other pronouns. What do you mean know about them? What is there to know about them? What is there some sort of is there like a non-binary lexicon that I haven't read?
Accustomed to using singular they entirely because I had to commit it to muscle memory. All I know about
you couldn't even get used to using the singular they, and you're shitting on Contra? Is this jealousy? Is this self-harm?
Non-binary people is that they are neither male or female and use gender-neutral pronouns. But the thing is, I don't need to know anything else. Calling someone gender-neutral pronouns is fucking easy. Not being a
Evidently not for you, because it took you a year of committing it to muscle memory, but okay. It's easy for me, because I'm, a perfect leftist, but, that's me.
Shithead to someone is the easiest fucking thing in the world to do. You have to put in effort to be a dick to non-binary people like this.
What? Wait, Contra uses they. Wait, what are you Wait, Lily Orchard is talking as though Contrapoints was refusing to use they, them. But Contrapoints uses they, them. Contrapoints just said that she wants to understand it more than just dogmatically using they, them. Wait, what? What?
Also in the video, she highlights Blair White, a vocal internalized transphobe who acts as a yes girl for the alt-right, as
yes, even though she's one of the YouTubers whomst is bad.
Yes, apparently a YouTuber being branded as bad because they do bad things, abuse their platform to spread hateful messages, use their platform to target and harass children, and generally behave with all the grace and decorum of Julia Vickerman at a daycare is something that deserves to be treated with mocking melodrama. Now,
wait, in what context was Blair White even being brought up? What? So anytime you mention Blair White, you have to do like a 30-second like Nazi like film reel intro where you explain like the extent of her crimes? She said Blair White, a person who is bad. Wait, what? You're criticizing her for this? If she had invoked Blair White without explaining that Blair White is a shit, subhuman piece of shit, then I can understand why you might be in a tizzy about that. She literally immediately followed up Blair White's invocation with recognizing that she's bad. Do we need to like dedicate a 30-minute segment of the video to like a clip reel of Blair White being a horrible human being? Oh yeah, she's complaining that Natalie said it with too much irony. I see. Literal tone policing. Cool, cool.
Now, it isn't doing these things itself that made Natalie such a target for criticism and ridicule. It was the way she responded to said criticism. Every time her terrible shit was brought up, the Natalie wins circle jerk would start turning like mad. The circle goes like this. Natalie says something shitty, prompting a backlash.
Well, except no, I still have yet to see a single example of Natalie saying something shitty. And it's not like I've like brushed over the discourse either. I've seen the big Twitter threads and I've seen what they're referring to as well. Like, I've gone over all of it. It's not. Natalie doesn't say terrible shit. She just doesn't. She makes mistakes. I've criticized her. She does not like go over and say terrible shit. I've seen everything. They have no quotes to pull out on me. And notice, by the way, that Lily Orchard in this hit piece on Contrapoints still has yet to produce anything that Contrapoints said is bad, apart from one segment where Contrapoints said that she doesn't just want to dogmatically use they, them, she wants to understand the non-binary experience. That is the only piece of media Lily Orchard has yet provided of Contrapoints doing something bad. That's the evidence upon which this extrapolation is being based.
From viewers, Natalie then proceeds to try and explain her behavior.
And it wasn't even bad.
Despite it needing no explanation. More backlash. Natalie tries to write off criticism as a generational divide, a conflict of the radicals versus the moderates, and pontificating on the kids these days. Even more backlash, possibly laced with okay boomer this time. Natalie either deletes, protects, or otherwise abandons her Twitter and then makes statements on Patreon about how attacked she feels. The nostalgia chick goes on a rant about cancel culture going too far because her friend was held accountable for her actions, and apparently that's not something we do here over in BreadTube.
This is literally just gaslighting and abuse. Like that's literally what this is. No human being could in any honest light frame things as though they happened in the way that is being described here. This is abuser. This is an abusive piece of shit.
Land. Other straight white cis people join in. Natalie comes
nice straight white cis people, implying that only cis people like Natalie and all the trans people are against her.
Back after a week or so, learning absolutely nothing and continuing her bad habits, and thus the cycle continues in perpetuity. If you're noticing something, it's that Natalie has an aversion to just apologizing. She's a lot like my ex-fiance, and
she's actually apologized multiple times, even though in many of the instances where she did, I said that I feel as though she shouldn't have apologized. This is what gaslighting feels like. Can you feel it right now? How all of your memories of the drama surrounding Contrapoints are starting to be questioned as this one person incredibly confidently bowls over them, rewriting your memory of history within a series of events that are completely in favor of the narrative she's trying to push? Can you feel your memory being strained as this person bowls over a long list of complaints that, when examined individually, seem almost inconsequential, but are nonetheless being delivered with the tone of somebody who's striking down a murderer? Can you feel it? Damn, it feels like we're listening to an abuser. Nice. I love it. We're getting gaslighting PTSD up in here, boys. Maybe Lily makes the videos like this so she can practice the gaslighting on the people in her real life.
And that when she bothers to apologize, it's always a limp-handed, passive-aggressive, sorry if you were offended apology that comes laced with about a dozen backhanded remarks, and really feels less like an apology and more like a self-indulgent tantrum.
No specific examples being provided. Lots of broad generalizations. Remember, specific examples can be countered with factual evidence. You wouldn't want to stick to that too hard. Gotta stick to the broad generalizations that don't mean anything, painting broad swaths of the population complicit in things that they may or may not have had any involvement in, painting Natalie's fan base as broadly cis and male, invoking Lindsay Ellis for some reason. I don't know why we did that earlier, and acting as though like she's just there to milk over criticism of Contrapoints.
Natalie Lily seems to be very afraid of having to actually walk something back and admit it was either unnecessary, needlessly hostile, or just plain fucking wrong. There's always this—
Like what? What things were needlessly hostile or plain fucking wrong? Could you provide such examples? I know, for example, that if I was making a hit piece video and one of the largest left-leaning YouTubers in existence, I would spend a lot of time getting together clips. It should be really easy to do so considering how much drama there is surrounding Contrapoints. It's not like these clips would be hard to find. And yet for some reason, we're just, oh yeah, Lily saying needlessly hostile is a pejorative.
Sneaky, underhanded attempt to write off criticism as some kind of impassable divide that will never be quelled. That is when—
Why are we showing Blair White?
she isn't just making up bullshit. Yeah, I wasn't just gonna let that reptile thing sneak by. Contra had a couple of videos about the reptilian conspiracy theory.
Do it.
A conspiracy theory by David Icke that posited that reptiles secretly run the world. David Icke was also an outspoken anti-Semite, and the lizard people in question are just another extension of the old-fashioned anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that the Jews control the world. Now—
Yep, we got it. We actually unironically have someone. Do you think that this person actually believes this? Do you think Lily Orchard actually believes this? That anyone who makes a joke about lizard people running the world is actually perpetuating an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory, and that anti-Semitism is actually being bolstered by people who make those jokes? Do you actually believe Lily Orchard believes this, or do you think that she's just virtue signaling?
when Contra was criticized for talking about an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory as if it had anything useful to say—
It's not an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. It is a widely recognized cultural icon that people have been making jokes about for literal decades. People have made jokes about lizard people controlling the world for, again, literal decades. What was the film with the dude with the sunglasses? They Live? Was it They Live? It was They Live, right? Yep, it was They Live. Was that an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory? Because when he put the glasses on, or I'm sorry, took the red pill, he was able to see that many of the people in power in this country weren't actually humans, but were actually monsters. Is every joke or narrative or thematic line or conspiracy theory about non-humans in power actually anti-Semitic? Or is it only the reptile one because it happened to come up from the same crackpot who believed Jews control the world? Does the fact that a silly conspiracy theory that's been made fun of 100,000 times by 100,000 different people come from an anti-Semitic person mean that the conspiracy theory is inherently anti-Semitic? Am I, for example, an anti-Semite for driving a Ford car? The answer to all of these questions and more is that Lily Orchard is a stupid cunt. And I say that, by the way, with free reign. I'm very comfortable calling her names because Lily Orchard is such an unabashedly toxic piece of shit in her own content that it makes me blush. There is no way I can insult her or misrepresent her badly enough to come even close to the extent to which she does to others.
Her response was quite unique, that it wasn't actually anti-Semitic, because she decided that it wasn't. In Natalie's own view,
So have a lot of Jews that I've seen. I've literally seen multiple, long comment threads on Reddit and Twitter threads being like, hey, I'm Jewish, please stop pretending that this is an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory.
The lizard people represent capital. Why? Because I couldn't possibly be suggesting that Jewish people are actually lizards. That'd be crazy, which, as we all know, is totally not how conspiracy theories are formed.
Is this supposed to be a point? Haha, the lizard people thing is anti-Semitic because conspiracy theories are crazy, so saying anything crazy means you're bolstering conspiracy theories? What?
See, that's the thing about modern anti-Semitism, is that a lot of it is powerful people trying to blame problems caused by capitalism on Jewish people. It's why crazy right-wing nutjobs think Jewish people secretly run the corner store, grocery store, local store, banks, federal government, United Nations, secret global government, delete where appropriate, and it's also why general terms like globalist or cultural Marxist always—
This has nothing to do with the lizard thing. If this was the case, then any conspiracy theory or any story or any narrative where any group of people in power are actually secretly undercover another group of people in power would be an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. They Live, fucking anti-Semitic. Fucking Attack from Mars, anti-Semitic. Invasion of the Body Snatchers, anti-Semitic. Every single instance, anytime humans appear humans but are actually not humans, every single time, anti-Semitic. Every single time. Make flat earth jokes? Well, flat earth is a conspiracy theory, and often the people who believe in a flat earth are also anti-globalist, which means they subscribe to the Jewish question. So any flat earth jokes? That's also a That's also a anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. Whoa, whoops! I always thought it was just a bad sci-fi trope. Me too! Who knows that after decades of being integrated into common discourse and ridiculed for being completely impossible to take seriously, that the idea that there are lizard people controlling the world might take on a life of its own beyond anti-Semitism.
Seem to turn around to mean the Jews again.
We're done with this. This is literally a non-argument. This is boring.
What exactly?
Yeah, I get it. Yep, the goblins is yes, no, I know. I'm aware.
Pick your sergeant looking like an anti-Semitic caricature.
How much time did you spend on this?
Out of sheer poor choice of words, but it never really becomes a big point of contention because 1, I'm always ready to throw down the moment a true scum rears its ugly head, and 2, I usually just apologize and try not to repeat the mistake. This is something Natalie is completely averse to. Even small things like a recent controversy where she had true scum Buck Angel appear on a video for over 10 seconds.
How is that a small controversy? That's the controversy that led to her literally leaving Twitter. I would say that the Buck Angel thing is actually the largest controversy that she has ever dealt with. So where are all the examples of these horrible things she's saying? Please, explain to me. I'm genuinely curious, because again, so far, the only clip that has been provided is one of Natalie being pro NB, saying she wants to understand NBs better. So we're 10 minutes 33 seconds in. That's all that's been provided.
This was probably the easiest controversy to handle. Just apologize and promise to do more thorough background checks on who you're working with in the future, and then just stop there because a 10-second video clip is not a hill worth dying on. But instead, Natalie dug her heels in and had an entire fucking Patreon stream where she basically had a complete and total meltdown. She cried about how the left isn't tolerant enough, went as far as to go after people like H-Bomber Guy for
bad faith! I watched that. She never said the left wasn't tolerant enough, and she never went after H-Bomber Guy. Which, funny by the way, that Lily Orchard would be pretending to play defense for H-Bomber Guy, considering he's one of those cis white men that she would have been making fun of for supporting Contrapoints. She never went after H-Bomber Guy. And by the way, in that Patreon stream, which she does anyway, it's part of the Patreon reward scheme that she has. She didn't do it in response to the Buck Angel thing. In that Patreon reward stream, she was drunk, crying, and genuinely upset because she felt as though no matter what she said, or no matter how she interpreted or phrased or did anything, people would still interpret her in the most bad faith way imaginable, which is exactly what Lily Orchard is doing here, because Lily Orchard is an abusive, gaslighting piece of shit.
Being virtue signalers by making Donkey Kong said trans rights into a meme, and how trans people want virtue signaling over the detailed and nuanced testimonial she offers.
Yeah. You do, Lily Orchard. You literally asked for people to just dogmatically accept the they-them stuff without ever trying to understand it. You actually advocated for that in this video. Contra is advocating that we should seek to understand these issues rather than just fall in line and accept them, repeating them verbatim. And that's true because making good arguments in favor of social progress is infinitely more effective than just demanding people listen to you and never providing those arguments. Yeah, someone like this who claims to be pro-love and sympathy and acceptance being cruel about a trans woman slipping back into alcoholism. You love to see it. You love to see it happen.
And how older trans people will always be trans medicalists, so we need to be more
She never said that?
welcoming.
Again, yes!
Yikes.
Yes, one more time!
Wow, that's a lot to unpack. First of all, did you really use the virtue signal argument?
I'll do it too, you virtue signaling cunt. You stupid piece of shit.
Could you just stop blowing neo-Nazi dog whistles?
Neo-Nazi dog whistles. The term virtue signaling. Ah, yes, the neo-Nazi dog whistle. Yes. Correct. Considering virtue signaling has, as a concept, existed for a very long time, only given new terminology recently, and has been referred to pejoratively describe people on the right and the left, yes, that's true. Other known neo-Nazi terminologies, woke scold, SJW, bad faith, cunt, bitch, what are more neo-Nazi terms? Cuck, lizard, and anything else that Lily Orchard doesn't like to hear. Those are all neo-Nazi dog whistles now.
For like a minute Just admit it. For just a minute, stop wrapping your lips around that turgid fucking whistle and blowing as hard as you can. This
What the fuck are you doing? Also, this is literally virtue signaling.
What
am I looking at right now? Lily Orchard, atrocious YouTuber? Why am I looking at this? I don't care. Why would you ever link me and let me Google that for you? You know that's supposed to be linked with, like, sarcasm or derision. Is this it? What is this? Just like a drama page? I don't care. Social justice warrior, toxic. None of these are examples. This is just condemning her. I don't care. This is boring to me. All of the evidence that you could provide for her being a terrible human being are evident in the video we are currently watching.
became the straw that broke the camel's back. Contrary to what Nostalgia Chick and other white liberals might think, Natalie wasn't—
Nah, white liberals. Ooh, just every time you don't like someone, just gotta throw in the white liberal card. Even though Lily Orchard is herself white, I'm pretty sure. And I'm not sure if she's a full-on lefty, but she sure acts like a fucking liberal during these videos.
Cancelled until this fucking diatribe came out. Before, Natalie was being dragged for saying something stupid, wrong, and bigoted, a dragging that would have burned itself out if she kept her fucking mouth shut. Natalie's previous brush up—
that highly sympathetic language. She's POC, she claims some Native American ancestry. Bullshit! I want to see a picture of this bitch. I guarantee you white passing. She's Native American. I call horseshit. Unlikely. This is exactly the type of person to Elizabeth Warren her fucking audience. Let me see. Oh yeah, that POC. That POC shit right there. Ah yeah, no white privilege here. Where's the headdress so you can call other people who look as white as you white dismissively? I don't know. Damn, I bet she experiences a lot of day-to-day oppression on account of her skin color. She's a soakdem that thinks that Canada is socialist? Wait, seriously? So she's a white liberal. Nice! That white liberal, Lindsay Ellis.
With trans medicalist rhetoric was to complain about being asked for her pronouns in trans-friendly spaces and how it made her feel bad. And people took issue with this because Natalie was putting her own feelings above other people's.
Nope! She specifically said this was just her personal experience. Her personal experience, and that she was understanding that others would have different experiences. She recognized that she, as a binary passing trans woman, has different experiences and sometimes different needs than non-binary or non-passing trans people. Easiest stuff in the world.
And acting as if it was some kind of virtue signal to ask for pronouns. Of course, trans spaces ask for pronouns because there's little to no visible distinction between a trans woman who passes and a trans man who hasn't started his transition yet.
She never said trans space, she said progressive space. And she specifically talked about how it made her uncomfortable when she would be in a room with a bunch of other cisgender people, and they would all go over one another, asking each other's pronouns, eventually waiting to her, when all eyes would be on her, waiting for her to identify because they could clock her as trans. She specifically said that if she went into some southern bar in Alabama, everyone would treat her like a woman without questioning it. But in progressive spaces, people would be all very hesitant over, oh, what's your pronouns? Because they, being more attuned with trans issues, are more likely to recognize whether or not someone is trans, and therefore more likely to call attention to that transness. Which is something that bothers her, because a lot of trans people don't like being treated like trans people when they're just trying to live their fucking day. They want to be treated just like a cis person. Like a cis woman here.
Yet. Additionally, there are people who are closeted in public, or non-binary people who would need their pronouns asked
she
for
acknowledged
because
all
pass isn't
of
an
this.
option for them. There's a lot of people in that equation other than Natalie, but for Natalie, this was a hyper-woke space that invalidated her being trans, while toxically masculine sports bars gender her correctly without asking, and she never once acknowledges that in trans spaces, asking for pronouns is a requirement. Natalie is—
She acknowledges literally all of this, and some of the things Lily Orchard are saying are misrepresentations of the perspective that she had.
brushing up against her own privilege for the first time in a long
What?
time. You see, Natalie is wealthy. Extremely wealthy. Her Patreon alone pulls in $150,000 a year at a fucking minimum. And that's before you factor in advertising revenue, sponsorships, merchandise sales, and any other methods used to squeeze more money out of a YouTube career.
So this is jealousy. For one, that doesn't mean a person is extremely wealthy. When you hire people to edit and work with you on sets and camera people and have to buy new costumes and stuff, your performance, and also all of your money comes from an unstable source, and also you're self-employed, which means you pay both halves of the FICA tax, meaning that you're going to be paying significantly more in taxes than a traditionally employed person who makes the same amount of money, and Contrapoints has never done a single sponsorship, and Contrapoints' videos are almost certainly being demonetized the same way my videos get demonetized, because she deals with heavily political content that is fairly suggestive and not suitable to most advertisers. Not to mention most people use ad blockers anyway. The idea that Contrapoints is extremely wealthy is fucking ludicrous. At this point, it's probably not that unlikely that I make a comparable amount to her. And I don't feel extremely wealthy. I'm looking forward to getting fucked next April because you have to save like $30,000 to pay off the FBI, I'm blanking right now. The tax people. The IRS, thank you. The IRS, when you're self-employed, you actually have to save up like 20K, 30K. Yeah, I've got to pay off this. Oh boy, oh shit, Monkus. Vosh has 30K to save? Yeah, I have to, or I will have all of my shit repossessed by the government. The point that I'm making here is that, for one, the idea that Natalie is extremely wealthy is completely asinine and unsupported by the data. And for two, this just makes it look like it's jealousy. This is just jealousy. Is she just mad that Contrapoints does more than her and affects discourse more than her? And that Contrapoints like changes the minds and lives of thousands or tens of thousands of people, and Lily Orchard is known almost universally in the YouTube sphere as a petty, drama-mongering, abusive piece of shit who produces videos that are sustained almost entirely through the bad faith and hyperbole that she builds into them?
Natalie has the money to complete her transition comfortably, being able to dress.
Whoa! What do you mean complete your transition there, Miss True Scum? I thought the transition was completed the moment you decided you identify as a member of a given gender. Are you saying that completing one's transition is in some way intrinsically tied to a facial feminization surgery? Ooh. Now that's a cancellation if I ever felt one. And by the way, the reason why I'm being specific about this is because I fucking guarantee you that if Contrapoints had said what Lily Orchard just said in this video 2 seconds ago, Lily Orchard would complain about it and use it as evidence of Contrapoints being true scum. But Lily Orchard just, she gets to say it because, hey, she's not the one being subjected to bad faith. She's the one doing the bad faith.
Dress up the way Natalie does is a show of wealth. Being able to pass as well as Natalie does is a show of wealth. A lot of trans people are very poor and can't fucking afford a complete transition in just 2 years. And these kind of bare minimum standards of decorum are for those people who can't go to sports bars and automatically be gendered correctly.
Which Contra acknowledged in the tweets and in the video.
And Natalie would have thought of this if she was concerned about anybody other than herself.
When she acknowledged other people and said she recognized that her experiences weren't those of everyone, she just wanted to share her own. And that she said she didn't judge or invalidate anyone else's experiences. But you wouldn't want to show those tweets, would you? Because that would include that content. You only want to describe the tweets you're referring to, not actually show them directly.
So she got a hailstorm of criticism for what was, in all honesty, her using her platform to go on a self-centered, myopic, egotistical rant for no fucking reason.
You got more fucking synonyms there? Holy shit. She just wanted to share a personal fucking experience, you fucking transphobe. Does anyone get the feeling that this is actually transphobia, that Lily Orchard is bitter at and directly trying to invalidate passing binary trans women or something? Because that's what it feels. That's what this is, a sign of privilege. She shouldn't have expressed her personal preferences in regards to the spaces that she's in, while also recognizing the preferences of other people and saying she was just one voice among many. Like, I don't know. Do you think Lily Orchard secretly hates herself and is projecting that onto Contrapoints? Because given the content I've seen from Lily Orchard, that would be extremely on brand from her, in my opinion.
And the lesson to be learned from this kind of dragging is simple. Check your fucking privilege. Natalie should have taken this opportunity to realize that she enjoys a lot of privileges because of how wealthy she is.
She's
and also
constantly talking about how lucky she is. She says it in like every video.
the fact that she's white. And that kind of position will color your perceptions. The lesson should have been to stop acting like your minor inconveniences are something that should be voiced everywhere. It certainly wasn't. Make up a non-existent generational divide, but that's what she fucking did. But my experience is very different. I'm not a vanguard Zoomer tran. I sometimes feel like the last of the old school transsexuals.
I like the mocking voice. I mean, I've talked about this before. I don't know if I agree completely with Contrapoints' dichotomization of like the trans community, but there is no denying that older trans people are much more likely to be trans medicalists and younger trans people are much more likely to be, well, vanguard Zoomer transes. Like, it makes sense. Trans medicalism was the dichotomy by which trans people validated their existence for decades. It had to be trans medicalism. It was through gender identity disorder. That was how trans people validated their existence for a really long time. Now, are all old people trans medicalists? No, of course not. But a lot of, like, for example, Contrapoints isn't. A lot of old people, however, are, and that is a valid dichotomy. A lot of most younger trans people are not. You know? The vast majority of younger trans people are not. But again, none of this means anything because Lily Orchard is dishonestly portraying this as a response to community backlash to Contrapoints invalidating other people's experiences when she made great efforts not to. It just takes stupid, dumb fuck, bad faith, bad actors to come out here and deliberately misinterpret the things that they're saying because they secretly hate themselves and want to project those feelings of antipathy on Contra, a much more successful and much more pragmatically effective YouTuber.
Tran, I sometimes feel like the last of the old school transsexuals. For clarity's sake, Natalie is 31 and she started transitioning in 2017.
Old.
She is not old school
Boomer.
anything. I've been transitioning longer than she fucking has, and we're not too far apart in age. Natalie is a fucking millennial, not some Generation X or boomer stick
Boomer.
in the mud, yet she talks like one. Moreover,
isn't it kind of transphobic to mock a trans woman's voice? Oh, that is a good point. I bet you if in one of Contrapoint's videos a trans woman's transcript was read out loud like this, that Lily Orchard would be using it as an example of transphobia. Hey, Lily Orchard, why do you feel comfortable mocking the voice of a trans woman? That's a little bit weird.
someone who makes videos about trans issues should already know that transsexual is considered offensive now. But then again,
In my previous video, Nasty T-Babe likes it rough. Last month I released a video called Sexy Furry Pounded by Skinny T-Babe.
Natalie can't even seem to get that part right most of the time. But even if
What? Transsexual is not, by any definition, a slur or like a derogatory term. It's just an outdated term that a lot of people don't like using. I'm bringing it back though, and you all know why. Also, yeah, no jokes allowed.
Natalie was 55, age is not an excuse for stupidity. Time marches on regardless of how old you are. Being alive during the Jim Crow era isn't an excuse for racism because you lived during the civil rights era as well. You've had decades to educate yourself.
Wait. She was never making excuses for trans medicalists. She said that a lot of older trans people are trans medicalist. Just like a lot of older people are racist. Just like a lot of older people probably have shit views about women. She wasn't making excuses. She never said, oh yeah, well, trans medicalists are old, give them a break. She never made the point you're arguing against right now.
And transphobia is no fucking different. If in 5 years you still don't understand that describing yourself as an indoor tranny is a fucking stupid thing to do, no amount of making up
Damn, sorry, bitch. You can use it. You can say it. I can say it too. I'm gonna do it. Cracker. I can do it. You can do it too. Lily Orchard, take hold of the power inside of you. You are a trans woman, and you can pop it out. You can pop those T-slurs out like crazy. And so can Contra. Contra can do it too. Hey, where are my, hey, wait, everyone in chat, shut the fuck up. Hypers, if you're black and you would come on stream and say the N-word right now, if I would allow you to come on and do that. That's one. We've got it. We've got him coming in. There we go. Nice. To demonstrate the point, my brother? This is the most juvenile shit, lol. I thought the point was that slurs can be reclaimed by the people who are typically targeted by those slurs. I'm pansexual. I get made fun of. I can say faggot. I can do it with a hard T, faggot, not just the fago, the less edgy version. And Contra over here, trans, can say fucking T-slur. She wants to. That makes sense to me.
Bullshit about a generation divide between you and other trans people that doesn't exist is going to excuse that.
The generational divide factually exists. More older people tend to be more old trans people tend to be transmedicalist than young trans people. That's just a fact. Not all old people, not all young people. Not saying it's an excuse. It's just a fact. Also, considering the fact that Natalie herself is not a trans medicalist, I don't know what her position on this divide has anything to do with anything.
Your stubbornness and refusal to change your behavior is entirely your own fault. The fact that Buck Angel and other true scum still believe the bullshit about dysphoria being necessary for being trans, despite medical science and psychiatric studies debunking that idea a long time ago.
Wait, what? Wait, what? Lily Orchard.
For being trans, despite medical science and psychiatric studies debunking that idea a long time ago.
Medical science and psychiatric studies weren't what led to a move away from transmedicalism. It was gender theory. You can't medically debunk that. How can you say transmedicalism was blown the fuck out by medicalist arguments? Does she even know? Does she even understand? It was gender theory. It wasn't, what, do you think like a bunch of scientists ran out with like papers bundled in their arms and they were like, look, we've proven trans people don't need medical validation to determine their gender. We determined this medically. What? It was gender theory. It was sociologists coming together and recognizing sort of collectively that not only is gender arbitrary, but the designators we use to determine a person's gender are largely socially constructed and contingent not so much upon one's biological reality as one's identity and how one is perceived. That's how modern gender theory gets its like perspective on trans people. And it's obviously a lot more complicated than that. I mean, it's a complicated like subject. But what is this? Transmedicalism was defeated by science studies. What? Lily Orchard, you're a trans woman arguing against a straw man of a transmed Natalie. I'd think you would know this.
Is entirely a petulant tantrum because the kids these days didn't suffer enough for his liking. It's not an opinion, it's a delusion. But I also understand why a lot of trans people who just want to
making fun of a trans woman's voice. You know, all of the transcripts that she's reading out loud up here were read out loud by Natalie. You could just use the clip of Natalie saying this if you wanted to be good faith, have these arguments presented in their original context, and humanized your opponent a little bit, so you're focusing only on the argument and not on the character of the person you're attacking. But nope, time to clip and ship, just get the quote and read it out loud in a mocking voice.
Blend in are frustrated with the new visibility and with the radicals. I'm feeling fearful myself about the future of trans acceptance, and I understand the desire to be invisible, tolerated, safe. I wish it were easier to talk about our different experiences and needs. The backlash has turned us all against each other as we fight over little scraps of empathy from cis society.
Lily Orchard makes fun of this quote as a trans woman while unironically shitting on a trans woman and lying about her perspectives to earn validation from her predominantly cis audience.
And there it is. The age-old, we're eating our own nonsense. This is generally
the nonsense of the left eating their own. Ah, yes. The classic myth of the left eating itself. That childhood fairy tale. In a video where a trans woman is lying about another trans woman to fight for clout.
Generally what happens when a member of a minority group starts to either behave like a complete jackass, turns into a predatory weirdo, or becomes a bootlicker.
Jesus Christ.
Group starts to either behave like a complete jackass.
Keep in mind, Lily Orchard's entire career is finding other people who are doing real work for like progressivism and leftism. Oh yeah, and she also mocked a trans woman's desire to be safe right there. Like this, Lily Orchard's entire career is picking fights with other progressives
ass turns into a predatory weirdo or becomes a bootlicker.
It's funny because she herself has a huge amount of drama surrounding her as an abusive piece of shit, but she specifically targets other progressive icons to take them down a notch because she's desperately craving the validation of people who to like feel better than them. Remember when I said that she is the lefty fucking Twitter warrior? She actually is everything wrong with the left. This is every abusive tendency, every counterproductive, and she's not even in the left, every counterproductive tendency that exists within the left right here. She only tackles people like this. I have not seen any videos of Lily Orchard shit-talking like reactionary or even center-leaning content creators. I have never seen it happen.
They start getting criticism for their behavior like any human being would, and suddenly we're eating our own woo. For daring to expect the people who are marginalized not behave in a manner indistinguishable from a cishet white progressive whose progressive politics begin and end with weed. Natalie is part of a
What the fuck are you talking about?
group of trans people who want to blend into cis society and become invisible. And guess what? So am I. I'd like to blend into cis society and become invisible too. But the thing is, not everyone has that luxury.
Wait, then Contra literally said that people should, and that's what trans people often want. What the fuck? Not everyone has that luxury. That's what she said. In the quote you just read from, she said not everyone has that luxury because of a variety of social problems. Okay, yeah, fucking woke scold her for a point she just made.
There are poor trans people.
Oh yeah, I like how her icon is browner than her IRL. That's a classic too. The 1/64th Mohican.
Who can't afford a complete fucking overhaul on their body. And there are non-binary people who literally cannot fit into cis society. The social construct of gender has to change to accommodate them. There is no other option.
Good thing that she's argued for that.
This comes back to the problem of the fact that Natalie is not thinking about trans people other than herself. Or when
She literally, all of the quotes you're pulling here are her talking about the experiences of others related to her own experience. Are we done with this video? I'm actually just getting angry. This is just the words of an abuser. We good? We done?
her to begin with. And
Why the Fallout Boy?
A white cis guy who's
White cis, yep, everyone who disagrees with you is
for a
white.
charity to help trans kids.
Yep, saying that she was a shit-talking H-Bomber guy, even though she hasn't and she's friends with H-Bomber guy.
This war yammering on for way too fucking long about nebulous concepts that are irrelevant.
Nebulous concepts, even though there's evidence you could specifically produce, but you are not willing to because you understand that you are producing these out of context and in bad faith, and that presenting the arguments in their entirety or even in their original context would absolutely fucking destroy your point. Yes.
But herself and her
Ooh, given the thing, standing up to the trans woman.
fixating on the side.
Yep.
She doesn't do jack shit other than play dress up and shove her head up her own ass. And
Except being the largest far left-leaning YouTuber who has de-radicalized an enormous number of people and has had an overwhelming impact. Lily Orchard, you haven't done shit for anybody. You fucking colored yourself brown in your YouTube icon. You have like 1/7 of her YouTube subscribers. She has blown up in prominence in a shorter length of time than you've been here on YouTube. She has blown you the fuck out in everything you wish you could be. I'm not even a fucking Contra stan. I'll criticize her for fun. I'll do it. Throw the booze at me. But the idea that you could unironically make this video and say that like she's done nothing and she's angry that she's done nothing when literal fucking op editorials in the New York Times have been done in the extent to which she is successful in de-radicalizing people and sending people to the left, the extent to which a literal entire fucking genre of YouTube videos kind of spawned and began to orient around her video channel, and she's done nothing? There's no way this isn't done dishonestly. This is just jealousy. This is just fucking mad. This is just mad fucking malding over here. I'm really sorry for her hairline because she's malding like crazy. At the infinitely superior Contrapoints, who has done far more work than the abusive, bitch baby, constantly whining, bad faith cunt that Lily Orchard is. But I'd be mad too, because if I was literally worthless, the only minute scraps of lively satisfaction I could get from my existence would be trying to take down people more effective, more moral, more ethical, and with better hair than me. Get him out of here. Get him out. We're done. We're done. We turn our face away. The Chad Contra versus the Virgin Lily. We're done. We turn our face away from this nonsense. We ignore it.